beautiful Monday morning and welcome to the Rich Breakfast Show on the Reach 104.9 FM Owerri. My name is Ify and of course I welcome you to the Monday after Easter. Yes, of course, it's a public holiday, so I believe that a number of people are at home while others, some other people have nothing like holiday, so they are definitely out working and grinding. Anyways, kudos to you. Welcome to the studios of the Reach. And of course, you know what happens by this time every Monday on the Reach 104.9 FM Owerri. It's that time where a seasoned real estate coach actually comes in air to educate us, educate us and teach us about all things real estate. So I have in the studio Dr. Prince Joel Esquire. Welcome.
Thank you, Ify. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, happy. How exactly did you celebrate your Easter?
Indoors. So I was indoors.
Really?
Indoors, having a quiet time with God.
I see. Okay, so
it's a Monday after Easter. I like that
exactly,
part.
the Monday after Easter. Well, for those of you that have been following us on this program, we have definitely touched on different issues with regards to real estate. Remember, it's not just about having a land and just buying a land because you have the money to spare. It really has a lot to do with making sure that you know what you're buying, you know where you're buying it, and you don't end up buying litigations for yourself. So you might think you have all the information with regards to real estate, but I tell you, some truths that you will find out this morning will definitely blow your minds. We are live on Facebook. It's at the Reach 104.9 FM, so you can join us live on Facebook. In case you have any messages for Dr. Prince Joel with regards to real estate, do well to drop your messages. And as you do that, remember that we also have the WhatsApp platform and the telephone line. So once we open that, do well to join the conversation as well. But straight into what you have for us today. Before we started, you were actually talking about, fraudulent practices in real estate transactions or the real estate industry as it affects Imo State particularly. And I know that this, of course, it's something that happens all the time. And this is what we are going to be focusing on. So over to you, Dr. Prince Joel.
Yeah, thank you, Ify. Yeah, this morning we will be looking at fraudulent practices in real estate industry and Imo State in particular. It's mind-blowing to see what happened within the industry. So this morning, we will look at that briefly. Before we go there, let me use this opportunity to also share the program that is coming up on Saturday. Okay, now for me, this program is another way of giving out or giving back to the society. And so it's a Monday after the Easter. I want to quickly tell our listeners that there's a program coming up this Saturday. It's called the Real Estate Entrepreneurial Masterclass 1.0. Yes, Real Estate Entrepreneurial Masterclass 1.0. There's none like this. It has never happened in the city of Owerri. It's coming up this Saturday, 10th April. And the venue is Rockview Hotel. The venue is Rockview Hotel. And the time it's 9 a.m. It's a full day. It's a full pack. If this seminar usually will cost 30,000 naira, but again, as my own way of giving back, as my own way of grooming real estate practitioners, this program will be coming free of charge.
Wow.
You can imagine bringing a program that ordinarily will cost 30K to make it a free of charge program. So I encourage every listener to be in that program. Now the speakers for that day will have two fantastic speakers. The first person is Dr. My humble self, of course. Then Dr. Fred Ogbaje. Dr. Fred Ogbaje is a real estate developer, investor, and he will be speaking on formula for wealth creation. Formula for wealth creation. Dr. Fred Ogbaje will be speaking on formula for wealth creation. How do you make money in real estate? The other person is Mr. Mike Akwete. Mr. Mike Akwete will be doing justice on how you can build a team. He will be discussing team building. And that day, I will be exposing how you can close deals like a pro. That will be what I will be exposing, how you can close deal like a pro and documentations in land transaction. These are the program that is coming up this Saturday, and I am inviting all our listeners to be there. It's Rockview Hotel Owerri here. It's free of charge. Come get empowered, come get knowledge, and you will never be disappointed.
Okay.
So going back to our topic for today, which is fraudulent practices in land transaction. Of course, it has come or become a common practice for property owners, okay, to fall victim of fraudsters, and we call them 419. Usually you will see that 419 on building. Beware of this, beware of 419. This building is not for sale.
Yes, we see that all the time.
Yeah, it's covered. It's usually to scare fraudulent people or people who will go and sell such property without the consent of the owner. We see that very often. But again, it must also interest us to understand that the popular term 419 was actually, you find that in section 419 of the Nigerian Criminal Code. Okay, yes, section 419 of the Nigerian Criminal Code. And I want to read section 419 of the Nigerian Criminal Code. It says that any person, by any false pretense and with intent to defraud, obtain from any other person anything capable of being stolen, or induces any other person to deliver to any person anything capable of being stolen, is guilty of a felony and is liable to imprisonment for 3 years.
So that was where the 419 actually
That's where the 419 exactly. So if you are involved in this fraudulent practices, selling a property that you do not have title to sell, a property that you do not own, a property that does not belong to you, okay, by act of deceiving or inducing the public to do what, to buy or to patronize you. If you're found guilty, you will be charged. If you're found guilty, you'll be sentenced to 3 years imprisonment. Now, the important part of this is that there are a lot of real estate companies in the city of Owerri. And as the day is going by, you see them come up with different offers, different juicy offers. Last week I was saying they won't offer you 10 bags of rice to buy.
I even heard some other platforms where they said buy so amount and get another plot free, and I was shocked.
No, you can't do that for reputable companies. Okay,
that's the word, reputable.
Yeah, we that are in the industry, we identify and we know the reputable companies that are making waves, companies that are impacting lives. You can hear testimonies and all that. Yeah, we don't have a problem about that. We are more particular or more concerned about those who are coming into it without a ground knowledge or information about it, and those who are also using it as a scheme. You cannot go wrong if you have been in industry for years and you have experience. You've learned over it, you've learned over the years and all of that. So my sermon this morning is that as we invest in real estate, we need to be careful of the 419s, like what the rightly said. Now there are very common
fraudulent practices.
Fraudulent practices. We'll go through them one after the other. There are quite a few of them.
Right.
The first one, I'll read them one after the other. The first very common fraudulent practices, we've seen them one way or the other. You see, where a person who does not hold any legal interest in land sells the land to unsuspecting buyer. You don't own a land, you don't have any interest in it. Probably you know the man who owns it, and you begin to market and sell that same property to an unsuspecting person who does not know your stake in that property. We see it very often. Okay, we'll see people who will go, this land is for sale, and they will induce you, they will swindle you, or rather they will convince you that this property is for sale. They'll make offers and all of that. If you fall in, you're gone. So who is selling this property to you? What is the person's status? Is the person the owner? Is the person an agent? Is the person representing? Is the person an authorized representative of the owner? What is the status of the person who is selling the property to you, or who is marketing the property to you? So that's one. The second one is where a person who actually holds an interest in a land sells same to more than one buyer. Okay, yes.
Really?
you have interest in the land. You sold to A. You sold to B.
The same land.
The same land. We see that happen very often. It's very common in Lagos. You know, yes. One of the things you know in Lagos when you want to do or deal in land transaction is the Omoneles experience. Now, the Omoneles, usually there is this general perception about the Omoneles. The Omoneles are very good at selling one land to more than one person. Okay, so they sell to you, you have failed to develop that property. Probably you paid money and travel or decide to take a vacation. Okay, and forgot that you actually own an investment there and all that. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, they've eaten the first money that you paid. Another buyer is coming. They'll collect other money from the buyer and allow you people to battle it out. So it's very common. In a way here, I think they call them Nenwala. I don't know what I mean. There's a general word for landowners. Okay, so if you meet the fraudulent ones, they will sell a land that has been sold before. Probably the person traveled or the person has not come back to develop the property. So if you go to buy a land or a property or a land precisely, and you notice that there's a fence or there's a corner piece, you know, there's something that should trigger question.
But then again, you know, the question I was even going to, you know, ask you right now is, I thought that the title is always very important. So is it that they come up with a different...
No, don't you get it?
A different...
The property belongs to me.
Okay.
You want to buy from me, not knowing that I have sold to somebody before.
So what then would be the content of the documents that are going to be given to the
No, the person that bought obviously did not perfect his title. The person is not in possession. So that the land is there. Okay, it's the owner that, if you're dealing with the owner, you're convinced you're dealing with the owner, and the owner sells to you. You believe you've bought for value, isn't it? Yeah. But what if a situation where the owner is fraudulent and the owner has sold to somebody before who probably traveled or probably is late, okay, and the family has not come to claim his property and decides to sell to another willing, unsuspecting buyer? It's very common.
Wow. Yes.
Mr. A visits Nigeria, visits Owerri in December 2010. And after buying that land, he travels back to America. Okay, and 20 years he's not back, and the owner feels that, man, I think I should sell this land. You know, that is
I hope that's a criminal offense.
A very criminal offense.
He definitely has a language in jail.
Now the third one is where a landlord property is in joint ownership of 2 or more persons, and one of the owners sells the land without the knowledge or consent of the other person or co-owners. Where a husband and wife owns a property and the 2 of them are having disagreement and the husband decides to go ahead and sell the property without the consent of the co-owner of the property.
So is this why people would rather you know, own properties in their names and not jointly?
There's nothing wrong in owning in joint name, but if you must buy, you should see the 2 parties and be sure that the 2 parties have consent that they should sell.
But tell me, you know, like, sincerely now, Dr. Prince Raw, what would you advise, you know, in this regard? Because
if property belongs to co-owner, it's a community land, it's a family property, it belongs to a company, okay, it is important that you get the consent of all the parties who own that property. If it's a property that has title and there's a name on it, association name, it is important that you see them, and it's important that a resolution is made.
I'm concerned about marriage even, because I've seen a lot of, you know, couples who part ways.
I know of one, both of them are in court and the other party is selling. So why should I buy a property when I know that it's in joint ownership? It's joint owned by 2 couples. It's important that the 2 of them consent. Both of them must sign agreement for me. Both of them must resolve to sell. So once you have that fraudulent intent, one party will sell, okay, or where the husband is sick and the husband is in the hospital, okay, and the wife begins to sell. Okay, I don't even know why we're saying husband and wife. Why must it be husband and wife?
No. You know, I'm not saying this for, you know, any particular reasons. But then again, we've seen situations where people out of love or out of a show of love would want to acquire property in, in their name and the name of those that they love. But then again, in this particular regard, are there any exceptions? Let's say just as you've mentioned, in a situation where one of the couples, is sick, and is in dire need of financial assistance. So does that person go ahead to sell?
Now, if you must do that, the person who is buying it should also conduct what they call the due diligence. Okay, in the course of your due diligence, you will see a genuine need to sell the property. So if one of the party is sick, and you find that out, and you visit the party in the hospital, or your counsel, your representative visits the party, and you see there is a dire need and all that, fine. You get to written undertaking affidavit, especially from the party who is selling, where the other party is incapacitated. Those are an exception. You will see the need, and certainly you will want to. And even in such situation, a person like me will not even give you the whole money. I will give you 50% of the money. Okay, yes, while I take possession and be sure that nobody will confront me before I give you the remaining part.
Okay, all right, man. So let's move ahead. You know what? Let's just even open the phone lines now. For those of you that have questions, you don't
mind, I take the last one quickly. Okay, so I've talked about co-owners. Where it is a family land, the land is sold by any member of the family without the joint consent of all family members. I've always said in this program that if you're buying a family land, you must deal with the accredited representatives of the family, and the head of the family or the most eldest in the family must consent to the transaction. You buy the transaction, you're buying the property or land where the head or the accredited representatives are not in support of that sale, you are as good as buying a problem.
All right then, 0907-1049. Tell me some, or rather call in and tell us some of those very, popular fraudulent practices that you have experienced as, an Imolite, as someone that is an investor in Imo State, as someone that has wanted to do business or wants to do business or is even doing business in Imo State, because I know that a number of people have actually had really, sad stories to tell with regards to these fraudulent practices of people who claim to actually be real estate agents that has actually, left a very sad taste in their mouth. So do all to call us 090-7000-1049, or you can send us a message on WhatsApp to that same number, 090-7000-1049.
Yeah. So it's important that we take those, we take note of all these practices. We see them every day. The other very common one by regular agents.
Okay, I think we have a first caller already. Good morning. Good morning. All right, so sorry about that. Do well to call us back. Remember that just in case the phone lines are acting funny, you can actually send us a message on WhatsApp. Good morning. Hello. All right, sincere apologies there, but don't get deterred. You can actually send us a message via the WhatsApp platform. Remember, today we are talking about fraudulent practices in real estate transactions. Just in case there is something that hasn't been mentioned, you can actually call in and tell us some of those fraudulent practices that actually happen here in Imo State that you would want to also bring to the knowledge of, listeners here in the studios. 090-7000-1049. So let's go ahead, Barrister, because I know that this, of course, is not all of the fraudulent practices, but then again, I want to believe these are some of the very major ones. But let's take this call. Good morning. Sincere apologies. I don't know what is wrong with our phone lines, but send us a message just in case you really want to join the conversation. Send us a message to our WhatsApp platform. But just as I said, I want to believe that there are still other fraudulent practices.
There are quite a lot of them.
Yes, but I want to believe that these are the major ones.
Yes,
and they relate here in Imo State.
Yes, let me even share a very common one. Yes.
Before you share this common one, hello. Good morning. Sorry, your name and where you're calling from, and if you can, just switch off your radio set. Can you switch off your radio set, Henry? Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
A situation whereby somebody bought a land years back, far back of the year 1982, and registered the same property. Then we sold it in 1992 again. Some person registered the title, and that person came up now and said he is the owner, customarily, from another family. and went to court and got judgment against those people. Now, in this circumstance, what is the position of the person who is the rightful owner now, who has bought in 1992 and registered it with the Sort of Attorney?
Okay, will that be all your question? All right, thank you.
Yeah, let me respond. The fact of that case will go a long way in understanding and giving advice. But what he had just said is that somebody came up and claimed that he was the owner customarily. Now, remember.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to take the call?
Okay, let me take this call first. Hello. Good morning. Welcome, Emeka.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, our guests in the
Yeah, good morning, my brother.
Please, I have a question. In a situation whereby a man buys a property in his name and he's late, then the wife is the next of kin. So, and the wife is not doing anything. Then the wife decides to sell one or two of the properties in her consent. Okay, though her children, they are aware of the sales, you understand? Then when she sells to use the money to secure the remaining ones. And now some of the children, they are now fighting the woman. As in, they are now angry with the woman that why didn't she sell and give them the money to invest on or something like that.
Okay.
So, is it wrong for the woman that is next of kin to sell that property? As in, does she have the right to sell the property?
Okay, thank you so very much. But before you answer this question, let's just answer the first one with regards to who is the real owner.
Now, for you to claim ownership under customary law, there are set down principles that must be followed.
Okay.
Now, if somebody bought and perfected and somebody else comes up and proves that he's the owner customarily, now you need to satisfy that you actually own that land before the first person bought it. Like I said, I do not have the real fact, but from all that he has said. So it means that the person who eventually won it, okay, has been able to prove customary ownership. Now remember that customary ownership supersedes the subsequent registration. Supersedes the subsequent registration of the land. Okay, so when you say customary, it means that Mr. A inherited that property through from his family, his ancestors, and all that. The person who sold at that time, does he own the property? These are questions that requires an answer. Okay, so that you bought a property in as far back as then and registered it does not mean that the title was clean. So if as at then when you bought it the title was faulty or defective, you cannot claim it 20 years after. If the man who owns it is able to convince the court that he has ancestral lineage on that land and is able to establish it, is able to establish that ancestral lineage, okay, or a longer stay on the land and all that, I mean, so like I said, it's all about facts. Yes, that you bought and registered is not enough. So before buying, which is what we're saying, what if the person who bought 20 years ago was actually scammed into buying?
Okay, that's of course a big question. So let's just go over to the second question that the last caller actually threw at you about.
Yeah. The second question is if the wife, if there is a valid marriage and there are children, the wife automatically steps in where there is no will. We discussed this thing here. Where there is no will, the wife automatically step in. Where there is a first son under customary law, the first son, as it were, will step in. If the wife has sold with the consent of the children, if they are grown-up children, it's very easy for them to have a common understanding and agree to sell. Now, if they are still minor, their mother will take decision on their behalf. If after 20 years they grow up and begin to question their mother, why did you sell? I think that question is immaterial because you must have sold that property then to keep the home going. Okay,
so we have less than 3 minutes before we call it a wrap. But you mentioned something. You said, where there is no will, the wife steps in.
Where there is no will, is either the customary rights will prevail, okay, or the immediate next of kin, which is the wife, okay.
Sorry to cut you short. I just have to take this call. Good morning. Good morning.
Ask him what is the position of the law as to statute of limitation of Imo State of 1994 in this respect.
Okay, thank you so very much. Statute of limitation.
Yes, statute of limitation basically talks about the time between which to challenge a claim.
Okay.
Now, if it exceeds that period, okay, then you will be barred by that statute. So the fact of the matter will determine what will prevail. You get my point? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right then. 09070001049. See if we can squeeze in one more call, and we call it a wrap. Remember, this is Law and Property with Dr. Prince Joel Esquire, and this program comes your way every Monday 8:30 to 9 a.m. on the Reach 104.9 FM Owerri. For those of you just tuning in, today the barrister has been talking about fraudulent practices in real estate transactions in the real estate industry, particularly as it relates to Imo State. So a number of people might be wondering, what exactly are those things that can be termed fraudulent practices? And if you can, Dr. Prince Joel, just reel out the top 3 that you actually mentioned today, fraudulent practices in real estate.
Of course, the first one, it's where there's a co-ownership. Okay, for you to buy, it's important that you seek the consent of the two. Where it belongs to a family, it's important that you seek the consent of the accredited representative of the family, or the head of the family. Where somebody who has a title, sells to more than one person. Okay, yeah.
All right, then.
Now, there's a common one I wanted to share quickly. It's the very common one that I've also fallen victim of it, where the agent will collect 5,000 naira from you and goes and show you very quack property. It comes back, he collects another money from you. It's very wrong, very, very wrong. Okay, and I see that happen very often. Now, because there is no regulation in Imo State here, there are no serious regulation for real estate consultant, real estate agent. So you see these things happen and nobody is questioning them.
All right,
it's quite pathetic.
All right, for the want of time, as we round up, how then can you be contacted?
Well, for further conversation, in case you want to engage me, 080-2055-0410.
Social media handles.
080-2055-0410. You call me, you can reach me, just do me a WhatsApp message. If it is important that I talk about the seminar that
we have actually run out of time.
Yeah,
but
this seminar that is coming on Saturday. So I look forward to seeing more people who would want to meet with me in person. Come this Saturday at Rockview, 9 a.m.
Okay, you have that right. Contact him on the numbers, or you can follow him on his social media handles. Or if you want more information, you can actually send us a message via WhatsApp, and we will definitely give you all of the information that you need. That has been his time. Yes, Dr. Prince Joel Esquire, talking about fraudulent practices in real estate transactions. Until we come your way next week, Monday, remember, this is still the Reach 104.9 FM Owerri, and keep on listening. Good morning.